Hey guys, it's Kayla again. I don't know why I do that. That just seems so annoying, doesn't it? Today's video, I wanted to go over my NCLEX experience and how everything went down. I can't share questions or anything like that. That's not allowed. But I can share like what it was like going in, doing the exam, and if you saw my last video, you realized that I went to the very last question before the computer shut off on me. And during this situation, you can only do between 60 and 130, and I went to 130 for my exam. So it doesn't mean that the exam is easier by having less questions, because it could go both ways. Having more questions could give you more time or more chances to pass, or it can be like, oh, hey, all those other questions that you could have been really bad at, you don't have to take and you end up passing. So take that with a grain of salt. If you have the NCLEX coming up, just know that, I guess. First things first, I had to wait for like my ticket to come through, background checks, fingerprinting, before I could actually schedule the exam. I took it today at 8 a.m. It was kind of nice to do it first thing in the morning, but I had anxiety all night because I knew I had to wake up early to be down, because this place is an hour and a half away from me, so I left my house with like an extra 45 minutes to an hour to spare. So I got there, and I got there early, and I ended up waiting out in my car, and I went through all the messages of my loved ones and my friends and family who knew I was taking the exam, because I tried to keep it very small, but I didn't want people to know that I failed if I failed. I wanted just like the bare minimums. Like my mom, no, and a couple of my friends did, and that was pretty much it. They all were saying, good luck, we love you, we're praying for you, etc. I ended up going inside, and you have to wear a mask right now because of everything that's going on. And first thing they do is they ask you what kind of belongings do you have on you. All I had was like my ID and my car keys. And I also was told I had to take off my bracelets. And I don't know if you guys use essential oils. I've never believed in them until recently when I did my final exam and my fourth exam for my final semester. I used them, and I did dramatically better than any of my other exams by like a good 10 to 20 points better. I barely passed nursing school, and this semester I did really well because of those last two exams. Go figure. So anyways, I use peppermint on my oils, or on my bracelets, because they're the lava rocks, porous, whatever. And when I went in there, they're like, you need to remove those, which made me feel bad, but thankfully I still had the smell on my skin. So I could go, okay, concentrate again, because that's what they're supposed to be good for, is concentrating. So I did that. I took out my ID. They scan your hand for like your vessel pattern, which was weird because they scanned it like a super large amount of times, and your left one. They took my picture, and then once they did all that and verified who I was, they set up the computer for me, and it just so happened the stuff that I had to put my things in a locker was locker number 5, and that was my race car number for one of my divisions. And I tested at station number 5. So 5 is like my lucky number, and I got 5s on both those things, and I was like, maybe this will go okay. So I started the exam, and they give you like a little tutorial, but some of that does count towards your time. And we were given 4 hours to do the exam. I only used like 2 hours to do it because I went to 130 questions, but I really didn't sit on too many of them, except for like a math one, because it took me a while to figure it out in my head for some reason. Anyways, started the tutorial, that was done, and then I went further, got into my questions, and if it stops at 60, it like cuts off, but that's like the minimum number you have to do. I hit 60, and I'm like, it's gonna cut off anytime now. 70s went by, 80s went by, 90s went by. I was in the hundreds, and like at 104, I was like, oh, maybe I didn't do as well as I thought I did. And then it just kept going and going and going. And eventually I went to the very last question, which made me feel horrible, because I'm like, yep, I must have failed, because there are YouTube videos out there that say if you go to the end, they're not sure where to categorize you, and you must have done pretty bad. And they only count apparently the last 60 questions of that exam towards it. I don't know. Anyways, I ended up doing the Pearson thing after, and it said that I passed. I'll find out tomorrow for sure and update you guys. But while I was in the exam, we had like this whiteboard and really just laminated like graph paper that we used a Sharpie on, and if you filled it up, they'll bring you in a new one. I used it to tally every single question in a category of ones I knew I got right and ones I was unsure of, or ones I probably got wrong. I had more in this category, but I just put little marks all the way down. So that was nice. So it kind of gave me an idea of like where I was writing on that pass-fail line. And if I was too high, and then if I saw that this number was catching up to these numbers and it kept getting closer, then I'm like, I need to start really doing well because I'm not going to pass if I don't. So I did that. And then at the end of the exam, like I said, it just shuts off, but then you have to go and do a survey of the place and how easy was Person View to use and sign up for. And that was fine and dandy, but the facility itself was a little loud because they had to come in and clean off everything after each use. So the guys kept coming in behind me to go to the ones that were next to me, which is kind of distracting. And they would like stop and look at my computer, and it's like, back up, I'm busy, I'm doing my thing, I'm cheating, yeah, totally. That was hard. But overall, it wasn't bad. A lot of the questions I felt really prepared for using my study techniques. A lot of them I didn't because we just never touched that subject in school or this and that. But, as long as I pass, I really don't care. But if I have to take it again, then I have to take it again. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to share that with you and kind of everything that I had to go through. After the test was done, they sent out an email about an hour later, and then after I did that Pearson VUE test, and I keep doing it like every hour just to make sure that it stays the same, because I don't want to come back tomorrow and find out that I failed, and I'm like, I was fully expecting to pass at this point, even though I thought in the beginning I was going to fail, and then I did the trick, and I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't fail. But I would do the trick just to kind of give an idea. Anyways, guys, I hope that helped you to kind of understand what you're going to be looking for. The setup, is very similar to other things that you have to use for testing purposes, probably through your school. I enjoyed it, so I enjoyed it. I'm just glad it's done with. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Have fun and keep on nursing.